Hey guys, it's Tom. I was watching RJ's Knives this morning, and he had a tag on there from, I forget the guy's name. It was a weird name though. But it was an open tag anyway. Show your traditional users. And I don't usually do tags, but that sounded like fun since anybody who knows me knows I love traditional knives. So here's a little spattering of them. What we have here is this is a Colonial Barlow. This is brand new. I bought it in the packaging. And as you can see, it gets used. I'm getting a patina on it already. So you got your typical pen blade and your typical 2-inch Barlow blade. These are Delrin Sabone scales. Silver bolster here just says Barlow. This is a great little knife. I don't know how good it's going to be for hunting because it's kind of on the smaller side. But this is what you would normally find in a guy's jeans pocket back in the day. I called Colonial, and this knife was made back in the 60s. So it's a traditional user. Now this one here has a special place. This is a Imperial fish knife. This is the second knife I ever bought. The first one was a Camp King, and I lost it the next day I went hunting. I could not find that knife anywhere. And we went back that week and I bought this one. So I've had this knife since I was 12 years old, or 48 years. 46 years. So it's been around a while. I clean it up every now and then and, just kind of enjoy looking at it if I don't stab myself with it first. So it's a Colonial fish knife, and I wish I had the game and the fish that I cleaned with this stupid thing. I'd never have to go hunting again for anything, including deer. Now the next one up on the pile, this is a Colonial or Imperial, I'm sorry, Frontier powder horn Stockman. I forgot what I was tied there. Now I collect these, the Frontier knives, powder horns. See, like that, with the jig bone only. I don't collect all of them, just with the jig bone. And this is real jig bone. So you have your regular, 2-inch clip blade like most Stockmans, sheep's foot spade blade like most Stockmans. And by the way, these knives are all carbon steel. You can see there it says Frontier. So they just say Imperial Frontier, but then it's called a powder horn because it has a powder horn on it. Ingenious. Good snap to the blades. And like I said, they all are carbon steel. One of these days we'll have a talk about carbon versus stainless. Now this is a early 2000, but it's still a traditional pattern. This is a Case American Worksman series or something like that. It's got your typical pen blade and your clip point that normally Case has. It's a red jig bone, and there it's got an American flag with the Case logo on it. Good knife. It holds an edge, and I have 3 of them. I have this one and my stag handle one, and I got another one somewhere in just plain wood. So yeah, it's a great knife. All carbon steel blades. So what we got here? We got a Colonial, an Imperial, and a Case. Now coming up, we have another Imperial powder horn, Frontiersman, right here. Now this is what they call a hunter's pattern. Okay, the jig bone handles again, Frontier logo, brass bolsters on either end, carbon steel again. This has got your typical 4-inch blades. It's one's for cleaning, one's for skinning. And some unusual circumstances I came by this knife. When my father-in-law had passed away, we were coming home from, to get together after at the house. And across the road from my home, I happened to notice a glint of something. I walked across the road, and there this knife laid on the berm of the road. This knife was brand new when I got it. The blades were still shiny, unsharpened. I mean, they were factory edge, but unsharpened. This knife was brand new when I got it. And it was laying in the middle of nowhere alongside the road. So I just took it as an omen that, well, some of you may not believe, but I do. That, Al laid it there for me for a keepsake. And this has been on every hunt that I've been on. Since 2007. Yeah, 2007. Now, the weird part is when I first got this knife, I used to go trout fishing a lot. He died in May. So I'd fish and trout a lot. And so I started taking it with me trout fishing, which was stupid because it's a carbon blade and I'd be in the water all the time, cutting fish up and stuff. But this hole that I go to all the time, I didn't see much game there. I started carrying that knife with me, and the first day I went over, I seen 2 turkeys, 2 toms, and that's where I got my tom turkey that year. I seen fox, I've seen a bear, deer, or otherwise I wouldn't have seen. Also, I was having a hard time catching fish that summer, up until I started carrying this knife. And honest to God, every place I went fishing, I walked home with a limit that year, after I picked up this knife. So, might seem unusual, might seem like, Tom's losing his mind, but that's the way it was, and that's the way I'm going to believe it. Now, on the other hand, this here is a Colonial Master Barlow, or Granddaddy Barlow, whichever you want to call it. Same thing as the first Barlow I showed you. It's got the sawtooth cut Darlin, brass bolsters. It's got the 4-inch blade on it, clip point, like a Bowie type clip blade. Just same clip as this one, this one, this one. They're all pretty much the same. It's just longer. And this is also carbon steel. This seems some usage too. I've had this now for at least 4 years, so it's been out with me on a deer hunt. Once it was cleaned a couple of squirrels. Not to mention a lot of the other knives I had that cleaned up some game. I got a buck trapper model that's probably cleaned as much game as any of these. Well, at least that one there and that one there. These really haven't been used that much. But this one here, I did a lot of animals, squirrels and deer with that, rabbits, especially that one there. That's cleaned everything that was in the woods, including fox and everything else. So there's my lineup, just a couple of my traditionals. I do have a lot of, I got 3 or 4 trappers, like this here Parker Edwards mini trapper. I'm not going to be able to open it, but it's really neat because it has a picture of an old trapper on the blades. And that's what it says, old trapper. So I do have, a bunch of, I got some by Marbles, I got some by Buck, I got a couple by, the Imperial, and just a bunch of them. I got a Remington R12 trapper. Some beautiful blades. Even over here in this, I'm sure you've noticed here a couple times. In my seat here, because I was just looking at them all, this is a golden spike. Which, the last golden spike I had for a good many years. That's a new one because the last one got lost. But, yeah, traditional blades. I like them better than the newer blades. And people ask me why half the time, and it's like, look at this. This is classy. they've got a sexy class to them. You know, they're wood, bone, you know, jig bone, regular flat bone, ram horn. They're beautiful knives. So, this is Tom, and thank you for your time and your patience. If you want to, jump on the tag. It's an open tag to anybody. And don't forget to share the video out. And we will see you guys on the next one.